All right. How's it going, everybody? Let's double check, make sure we're live, and we'll get started right away. Welcome in Red Squirrel, Empty Other, Eliza Barnley. Okay, so it looks like everything's working fine. Audio level's good. Video, am I like a 240p or something? What's the video quality like? Is it absolute rubbish? Because on my end, my StreamYard looks fine, but when I open the YouTube in a different tab, it's a little 240p looking. Fastest 10,000x ever. What's up? What's good, G? Yeah, we have a lot to talk about here, but for those of you who don't know who I am, for those of you who are new, my name is Gerardo, creator of LookIntoHex.com, co-founder of Mintra.info, bought Hex under a penny. What else? we're doing the flexing now, right? But yeah, welcome in everyone. Okay, it looks like someone said 720p. Someone said not bad. Cool. So I'm trying out these new. I got these new Apple. What are they? The AirPod. The Maxes. AirPod Maxes. They're pretty good. Right now I'm on noise canceling. Let me change that real quick. There you go. That's a little better. That's actually way better. I can hear my voice more so how you guys hear it. Love the shirt. Someone says, "Oh yeah, new shirt as well." You guys have never seen this one. This one's actually pretty new. So I thought, you know what? I could wear just a plain. Let's fix this. I could just wear like a plain black shirt, but you've probably seen that before, right? Let's change it up. New thumbnail, new shirt. We upgrading up in here. Greetings from New York, Navin. What's up? Never been there. I've wanted to go though. Minty guy, what's up? Miguel, Red Squirrel, Hex McKenzie. If you don't know Gerardo, you're still early. Nice, thanks. PulseChain 83 says, RH said he'd announce Snapshot Day. Hex will pump. I'm excited. Yeah, Gerardo skates. I mean, just because it's a Thrasher tee, don't let it fool you. Back 2D says hello. Cool. Oh, dang, we have 100 people in the chat. We better get talking about real business here, all right? So you guys are here to hear about crypto, most likely. Let me share my screen. And no, I did not claim my free airdrop. I kind of want to see everyone else guinea pig it before I touch it. Share screen, window, share, boom. Awesome. So what you see here is obviously the crypto markets. It's just a nice little intro to have everything, kind of see what's in the red right now, and everything's pretty much sideways, more or less, for a day in crypto. 1% is your typical day. Hex is up 2.6%, pretty nice. But yeah, if you look at Bitcoin, it's just following what Bitcoin usually does, right? Can be modeled by a logarithmic growth curve, which is the green one here. If you plot something like the 200-week MA historically, that's been a great bottoming area as well, right? Down here, bottom of the bear market, double bottom, both on the 200-week MA would have been a fantastic spot to place your bids around $200 Bitcoin, ride it up 100x all the way to 20,000, and you'd be a very happy camper, even if you rode it back down to the 200-week MA. It crashed to in 2018, end of 2018, around $3,000. So more or less, even the March 2020 capitulation came down. The candles came down to the 200-week MA, right? The wicks obviously went lower. They actually went to the 300-week, if you see. But yeah, 200, 300-week, probably a good spot to place your bid orders. The orange curve being probably a little more likely, currently sitting around $21.4 thousand per Bitcoin. If we were to go back down here, you know, in retrospect, everyone would be like, oh, well, obviously, because Bitcoin always goes back to the 200-week MA when it's bearish. But a lot of people haven't accepted the fact that we haven't really done all-time high metrics since April of 2021, because for all the real metrics that count, this was a more euphoric peak, right? Even though 69K was a subsequent peak, it was only about a day where price went above this all-time high from April. And April was also denoted by certain key events like the Coinbase IPO launching, a lot of other coins finding peaks around the same time, and even the RSI, right? Like the RSI was way more overheated up here, and down here was sort of just like your bull trap. But yeah, so your 200-week MA is sitting at around 21.4K, steadily climbing. So if it were to touch it, maybe it's at 22, 23, 24K. And that could be your Bitcoin bear market within an inflationary fiat environment, because we don't need an 85% dip like some people have speculated. What if all the money printing causes a Bitcoin bear to literally just be like, 60, 70% dip? You never know. Or it could be characterized, the new Bitcoin bear cycles could be characterized by 255% dips. We never know, right? Like the patterns change. That's what keeps these markets evolving and not doing the same thing and able to wreck the new sort of the new wave of uninitiated investors that come into this without really having a plan. That's just markets for you. So that's Bitcoin for you. Ethereum, it's not as clean against its 200-week moving average. Ethereum doesn't really have a moving average that historically has been like, okay, that has been a clear bottom spot to place your bids. You could look at the 200-week MA and say it's around 1200, which is this prior peak. So sure, if Ethereum follows a bear trend for the next few months, who knows, then maybe 1200 around here would be a decent, bounce spot at the least. Who knows? I have no idea. And this could be a super cycle, right? People say it could be a super cycle. I don't lean in either direction, right? Some people say, look at what happened back here. Thought it was a bear, but actually it was this sort of double bubble cycle. Some people speculate, well, look, what if this whole side is just before your sort of super cycle to send you to 100 plus K? And again, the inflationary fiat environment kind of backs that. So no one really knows what's going to happen. No one really knows. I guess you could look at like the premium or deficit on GBTC. I think it's still in a deficit. Double check for me if you want, but in the comments, let me get to the comments actually. Make sure everything is good. Make sure I didn't like drop off the face of the earth. What's up from the Mediterranean? Let's fucking go. This is Jim at Crypto. Excuse the language. EO2 Davis. Let's get this PRT started. Nice. What's up, G? Trendsetters. Salute King. Total party night the night before snapshot. Launch party for sure. What's with the thumbnail photo? Have you been doing leg day? I'm just trying a different style of thumbnail, man. Like, thank you Hexa for the inspiration on all those RH thumbnails, because different split testing different colors, just different in-person pictures, and like cool logos, cool, like there was a Lambo in the last one, just like cool stuff. So we're gonna do that stuff from now on. Try to get the viewership rolling so we can have more impact in the world. Yes, sir. Mintra. Yes. Watching too much Polly Shore with the short shorts. Nice. Yeah, that was from a music festival last summer. September night. Yeah, it was still summer, technically, like 2 days before fall. Interesting. Yeah, so last summer it was a music festival. That's what the outfit and the picture was for. Jim at Cryptos is not gonna lie, I missed this content from you, dude. Awesome, man. Yeah, I'm here. We're busy and we're building things, but I miss talking to you guys as well. So I'm happy to be here, man. Gerardo, when you're starting your own meme coin. Low key genius, thanks. We all need more Gerardo, thanks. We're here because we're here. Please do P33TA, homie. I think that's a coin that pumped like a few 100x on very low liquidity. If you're into that, hey, be my guest. I'll look into these things. There's just so much to look into. Like all these different community members are launching their own projects, and it's cool, right? But you can't look into everything all the time, especially if you have your own stuff going on. So it's not an endorsement, it's not talking smack, right? Not dunking on anyone. It's just haven't had time to look into everything. That's just the truth. Thanks for the stream. My pleasure. You don't know where you are in super cycle. That's kind of the whole point. Exactly. SAC balance is done, we think? I think so. My SAC balances have looked good this whole time, like ever since the first iteration. I know not everyone can follow advice, but it's like this whole PulseChain launch to me feels like back in the day in elementary school or whatever, just in school, when there would be that one classmate that would ruin it for everyone and make everyone stay in like after class was over, or miss a certain amount of recess just because of one mofo screwed up and had the whole class have to wait. This is what I feel like. Like it's this minority of people who just screwed up the instructions, basic on-screen instructions to sacrifice for PulseChain or PulseX, appropriate coins in the appropriate time windows, appropriate chains, like, and don't get hacked. I mean, I guess crypto is hard, for the average person, but that's part of the goal of helping it become mainstream, is making it a little more seamless and easy to integrate into the real world. Going off on a tangent, but the point is that's what it feels like. But you know what? My SAC balances have looked good since the beginning. They look good now. So yes, I think they're ready, but we'll have to wait for the green light from the official PulseChain dev team or Richard. So look surprised in thumbnail. Apparently that's key. Yeah, sure. Like I'll try to whip up some of my old pictures and get good good surprise face. I'll get some new pictures, right? Right. I'll split test. You don't have to look surprised. You can do different facial expressions. You want to split test. Great legs. Thanks. Buffo on the beat says Firecracker beat me to the punch with full and swinging. Red squirrel, how's your nuts? Full and swinging. Because he's a squirrel. How can we buy Mint token? Well, the sacrifice for Mint is over, just the same as PulseX and PulseChain. So you have to wait until PulseChain launches and the PulseX decentralized exchange launches, so you can buy all the coins your heart desires on there. You can trade, you can liquidity provide, you can yield farm in single asset staking pools, in liquidity pairs, and stake the LP position in a farm and earn incentive token. And it'll be a party. All right. Can we invite Ben Cowan on the show when mainnet launches? I'd be stoked to have that guy on the show. He's smart. I DM'd him about HEX back in the day, like a while ago, and it was pumping into like the top 10, and he just wasn't interested, right? He just said he wasn't interested. So, it's not for everyone, I guess, but it would be cool. Maybe we'll get him, when HEX is $10. Someone says that airdrop, the one from today, is worth over 1K for them. Better claim and dump before it crashes. Hey, you do you, man. Or Eliza, you do you. Someone in the chat sent $200 to the wrong network. Got to check your parameters, man, before you're moving your money. Like, being your own bank is amazing, but it comes with a responsibility that a bank usually is paid to do, right? You outsource all of that headache, all of the work, all of the accounting to banks for the most part. So it's not just like it's all unicorns and rainbows. Once you're on your own bank, you have to learn about better security, learn about better responsibility with your keys and your accounting and your fund management, and just like, here, let's get back to these charts though. Going off on a ton of tangents. So this is Bitcoin for you, but really, who really cares about Bitcoin, right? Let's look at HEX. This beautiful chart. So leaking some alpha here. This is I don't know. I think this is the first time I've publicly shown this moving average. Not like you can't find it on your own, but I think the number of taps that price has had on this moving average and the precision with which these taps have taken place is, significant enough to share. We had a tap here at 10.5 cents, pretty big bounce, right? Nice 40% bounce, and then a crash back down to pretty much 10 cents. And look at these candles. These are daily candles that came back to the 600-day moving average. Again, another bounce up to the 16-cent level. I like that we're creating higher lows here on price. However, we are still forming lower highs as well, right? Sure, we formed a higher high here compared to this. So I guess what we really want to see is 16 cents break. But even then, you question like, okay, now is this uptrend channel just part of a major bear flag? So there are a lot of significant milestones we need to punch through with price before we can actually get a nice rally up to all-time highs. But you know what? HEX can surprise people. Crypto in general can surprise people. And just look at back here, right? We went from 10 cents August 11th to 50 cents September 11th. So in 30 days, HEX ran up from 10 cents to 50 cents, a 5x. So, within 30 days, HEX can do amazing things. And it can also do this sort of thing where it just dips very, very violently. So volatility isn't the game. Volatility is the price you pay for the mad gains. And this here, like I said, is the 600-day moving average. 1, 2, 3, 4 taps. And currently it's sitting at about 11.4 cents. I don't always like sharing these because I feel like, there's enough people that watch my content and share my content to where certain levels might not play out. Like when I was calling for the 20-week moving average to be tapped, or the 21-week EMA at around like 18 cents, I believe. We got to 16.5 cents, and then we turned around. So like 10% below that kind of projected resistance level. So, I don't always like talking about these levels because I feel like it might invalidate them because you're bringing awareness to it. So more people think it's going to happen. So more people prepare for it. So it's like, okay, you set your bids at different levels and you just kind of affect the market, when you share information, but it makes the market smarter. So, hey, you know what? We're leveling up the playing field here. But again, that's a 600-day moving average, which I find very interesting. You could also pull up, let's see, you can pull it up on a 2-day time frame by doing the 300 period, same data. And then if you pull up the 200, I think this is interesting as well because it provides a sort of like bottom channel where we kind of bounced off this. This would be your 400-day MA, it's your 600-day MA. And it's sort of been like this sort of reaccumulation, not reaccumulation, but this accumulation channel. So I don't know. It's fun watching these moving averages, not necessarily for speculation, but because HEX is a chart that is only 2.5 years old, which in the grand scheme of things is a young chart. I know multiple years can feel like a long time, and a lot can happen in multiple years. It is a long time you can take advantage of. But in terms of macro patience, like, 7 years for Ethereum so far it's been out. Bitcoin over 12 years, I think, at this point. I lose track of the math of Bitcoin sometimes. Is it 14 years old already? Something like that. But it's fascinating to me to watch this relatively new chart play out and create its market structure and see which moving averages over time become the ones to look at. Just like with Bitcoin, you have your 200-week MA. Everyone knows about the 200-week MA at this point. Everyone sort of knew about the 21-week and 20-week MA as well when we were riding, for example, our 2015, 2016, 2017 bull market. It always came back down to that and never breached it and just kept going. And then during the bear market, it never really breached that band to the upside and just kept going down. So it's sort of this line in the sand. But when enough people knew about it, it starts acting different, right? Here it wasn't as clear, right? Are we holding it as support? No. Okay, resistance. Okay, maybe support. No, just crash. And then here, all right, support, but we never back tested it during this whole rally. So if people were waiting for reaccumulation after like 10K and they were expecting a back test, well, they never got it until we crashed beneath it. So again, it's doing a weird sort of almost a fractal back here, actually, now that I think about it, right? Right above it, no back test, crash beneath. Right above, no back test, crash beneath. Fake out above, crash beneath, crash beneath. Then maybe we continue our rally, but we definitely haven't had a crash this nasty. Maybe it's the crash that brings us to our 200-week MA. But my point, before I get too speculative with this, is that when enough people know about a moving average or an indicator, enough people are using it, it becomes sort of like this the opposite of a self-fulfilling prophecy, like a self-negating assumption, I guess you could call it. But yeah, anyways, it's fascinating to me to watch this market play out and to watch the price chart of this new asset evolve over time and to see which moving averages become significant and the ones people look at to really denote that bear bull sentiment or that like bottoming sentiment. So could it be these moving averages? Sure. I like the structure that it's forming, how it's very almost textbook structure, like looking back, I wouldn't be surprised if the bottom looked like something like this. Not saying it is, but I mean, if you look at this whole region back here, which leads me to this analysis that I already had ready for you, is you have these long sort of, you could call them flags, but more or less these long sideways movements that, depending on how you draw them, right? This one back here, you could argue was anywhere from 6 months to a year. The reason I say that is because if you say, okay, well, we broke out here in October for an opportunity for higher levels, sure, then you can say it only took like what, 5 months. But if you say, okay, until what point did we hold sustainably these levels where you could have been trapped at, like the 60% of a penny level from May 2015, or 2015, excuse me, May 15th, 2020, then it only actually back tested it and really held in February, right, of 2021. So that's what, like 9 months. So 6 to 9 months ish of, sideways, arguably here before our next run up. So these run ups here are roughly 100x, 116x from the bottom, and then sideways for, again, half a year to 3/4 of a year. So 2 to 3/4. And then what happened after that? Our big payday capitulation, and then a price run up over the course of 237 days, where this previous one I failed to mention was only about 127 days. So just rough math, right? Because this is an emerging market, an emerging asset. Rough math, this move was roughly 100x. This one was roughly 100x. And the second move took roughly twice the amount of time as the first move. So if we just go with that rough math, and we also, form this sort of descending wedge, bull flag, whatever you want to call it, parallel channel sort of thing. They're not exactly parallel, so I don't want to call this one that. Then what was I getting at here? All right, you see that this sideways movement lasted, again, roughly 160 days, which a lot of rough math here. So 160 days is a little more than the actual expansion phase here, this big pump of 100x, 100 plus x. So the sideways kind of consolidation region lasted a little longer than the move itself. All right. So we could argue maybe this long sideways consolidation movement lasts about, about the same, maybe a little longer than the move itself. So the move itself, again, we said was about twice as much as this one, so about 237 days. So you could argue that's maybe 270-ish days or something like that, about 9 months from this point in time, July of last year. Or rather, or no, I measured from the top, excuse me, from September of last year, 9 months from then, gets you to about June-ish, which is interesting to me. So you do the math, I did the math last night, it takes you to roughly May or June for a sort of breakout to play out like this, so to speak. And we always say the HEX price chart is slightly misleading because if you look at the T-share price chart, you see, pretty much the same chart, and then you see it kind of diverge, however, follow in the same, and it diverges over time. I could literally show you guys real quick. Reason being, in terms of value, the big payday dip makes you think that it's in shares. Big payday makes you think that price was lower, right? But if you look here, after big payday, we formed a higher low compared to these previous lows, where these lows were T-shares were about 25 bucks. And then after big payday, it was, T-shares were like almost 200 bucks, and they crashed down to about $50, right? So they never reached these lows of $30 again. That's what I mean when I say the HEX price chart is misleading, in the sense that it makes you think sometimes that when price crashed down here into these levels, that you were getting the same opportunities over here. But from a fundamental perspective, you were already diluted by other stakers from the inflation they got, about, anywhere from like 30% to 100% diluted. Point being, that's why you can say, okay, well, this is the length of the consolidation period here, because this was a real breakout, and then it was actually a rally from there. Another interesting point, if you notice where this one starts, it's at this prior peak, which was the peak before we had about a 2x left in the tank from this peak, which it's drawn the same over here. We still had about a 2x left in the tank from that peak. Just some interesting parallels, which makes me think, okay, could this be a fractal? It's not impossible. So it makes me want to share these things. And so after this were to play out, and it's interesting to me because it could coincide with PulseChain mainnet launch, well, then we'll see, right? We'll see if we do 100x from there, or we'll see if maybe it's less than 100x because we're already seeing indicators of diminishing returns. We're already seeing HEX want to do this sort of log growth with diminishing returns, and it makes sense. It makes sense because things can't go up in an exponential curve forever as much as we'd like them to sometimes. So point is, you know, truth is it's doing something more so like that. And I've been struggling to get an actual mathematical curve for this. If anyone knows, you know, if anyone was math savvy enough to help me out with that, that would be greatly appreciated. The community would appreciate it. But HEX is starting to do something more like Bitcoin, right? Where it's curving, and it's fine. It's natural. Diminishing returns is completely natural. It's a natural mathematical concept. It's almost expected, right? So that's the sort of macro HEX analysis. Let me get back to the chat because there are 200 people. I'm just chilling in here. Let's see how behind I am. Hey Gerardo, how soon before we see a USDC USDT pair once PulseChain launches? That is a smart question because you probably want to provide liquidity on a stable pair because you assume each of those will hold their peg versus the dollar. So therefore you will get very little to no impermanent loss, be able to take out your coins at the same ratio, you put them in, and therefore just earn fees. Smart question. The answer to it, I have no idea, right? Do we know if USDC is going to be worth $1 on PulseChain? No. Do we know if USDT is going to be worth $1 on PulseChain? No, we don't know. Could be. And then, you know, is that immediate? Does it take time? Who decides to provide the initial pools? You could create the pool if you wanted. If you have enough USDC and USDT, create the pools. So no one knows, truly. Good afternoon, Gerardo. Happy to see you live, my friend. Matty Crypto. Good to see you, man. Think we're going to see a pre-mainnet pump, Gerardo? I think it lines up, yeah. Great stream, says Balliet. What's up, man? Who do you guys want to see me stream with, by the way? I asked this on Twitter. I guess I'll ask that while I'm reading the comments so you guys can throw more comments in there. But I got some good answers. I'm keeping a running list now with some of your guys' answers of who I should stream with. G-Dog, keep up the great work. Thank you. You're wearing a sacred shirt, bro. Go ride your skateboard after the stream. Fresh air and exercise will make you even smarter. This is true. I still need to get my leg workout in today, technically. So, not a bad idea. You should probably claim your free before it crashes. Squids and dolphins get over $1,000. I mean, I don't know if $1,000 is worth it. Honestly, I want to let people claim and make sure it doesn't have any vulnerabilities or exploits or weird permissions. Like, I'll wait. The risk to reward on that isn't that good to me. No ghost today? Nah, today we got the prime hydration. Why am I name dropping these brands? It's not even like they sponsor me. And it's not even like they use monk fruit extract. They use the not good stuff. So, like, come on, Logan Paul, what the hell? PulseX will outperform PulseChain like how HEX outperformed the base layer coin Ethereum. You guys are smart with the comments today. I like that, right? The things built on the substrate, if they're closer to the money, can oftentimes accrue more value than the substrate. So we know the examples of Netflix accruing more value than Comcast. We know the example of Amazon accruing more value than UPS. We know the example of HEX accruing more value than Ethereum in terms of ROI from launch during its first cycle. So could PulseX outperform Pulse? Sure. But you're going to see like the PLSX to PLS ratio, it's going to fluctuate. So will you ever see that at 1-to-1? Maybe. I mean, they have the same sacrifice rate, similar supplies, different dynamics for growth, but same ecosystem. So will you see that fluctuate 1-to-1, 1-to-3, 1-to-10? At some points, maybe you have bubbles of one versus the other, and then back. It'll be a ride. It'll be interesting to see for sure. No one really knows, but it is the possibility there. Sure, you're saying it has better fundamentals. You know, it's really at the end of the day, like which one is being, you know, whose buy button is being mashed the hardest. But there is the automated mashing the buy with the buy and burn on PulseX. So I see what you're saying. I don't know, but we'll see. Like I'm stoked on both. I have a lot of both, or not yet, right? But like I sacked a generous amount of coins, and so I'm stoked. I'm bullish on both, on Pulse and PulseX. I'd love to see PulseX. I wouldn't see. I wouldn't be mad if either one outperforms the other one. I just wouldn't. Did you make a PulseX price prediction? No, actually. That's a good video idea. People love their price prediction videos. Oh, what's up, Gerardo? Thoughts on Hedron? Price, meh. Idea, not bad. I like the encapsulated stakes and then being able to tokenize them as NFT idea. I like that. I like the free yield for hex stakers. I like that. Do I like the borrowing Hedron and putting up your stakes as collateral? I don't like that. I wouldn't do that. So there are parts of the protocol that are, decent. Have I claimed Hedron? Sure. Right? Have I minted? Sure. Have I sold some? Have I? I can't even remember. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. It's such a new coin. Like, it's a free claim. You just hold it unless you like absolutely need the money and you got a significant amount or you're like trying to trade it or whatever. You're trading house money at that point. So like, I don't recommend it, but you do you. But no, I mean, just claim, hold, just I see a lot of whales do that. For example, I see these huge Ethereum wallets with their 400 uni still sitting in there. And it's like, oh, like they don't care enough to swap it. They have enough of everything else to where they're just like, we're good. You could swap it for Hex if you want, if you're more bullish on one coin than another. I mean, some people did that. I think Hedron had a nice like top when Hex was bottoming out. So you could have done a nice little flip there. But why do you think Hex is not pumping with the news that we should see Pulse soon? Because we've seen that news for the last like 6 months. People are jaded. People don't care anymore. People are off Twitter. People are, angry, sad. Like, guys, it's price chart. It goes up and down. We're up what, like 10x from a year ago? What's our 365-day rolling returns? Today's April 20th. What was April 20th of last year? Let's see. High 1.7 cents, low 1.3 cents. So roughly 8 to 10x higher than 365 days ago. My point being, like, I think we need an actual date. We need a date set. Like, yo, Pulse is launching on this day, this month, this year, hopefully. And I feel like at that point, then you have a sell the news, a date set in the future, so a price can rally into that date. Not financial advice, just kind of my thoughts. What caused the big payday? It was part of the protocol where you had steady hyperinflation throughout. How do you do this? You had steady hyperinflation throughout the launch phase, and then you had this like 1 day big payday where you have this like inflation peak, and then after that, inflation is just like a steady 3.69%. So you basically had steady linear inflation, and then you had a big spike, about 30 or 40% of the entire system on that day that got paid out to stakers. And then from there, it just ratcheted down to your default inflation. So that was in the protocol itself. And a lot of people got a lot of coins. Can I draw the fractal and see what new all-time high we'd end up at now? I mean, at this point, you don't really know what would happen, but if you get roughly 100x from this region, the 8 to 13 cent region, we'll say 10 cents. What is that? That'd be like $10, right? So if it took twice as long, I guess you can speculate and say, 460 days, $10. So like, so summer of 2023, $10. right? But we don't know if it's just going to keep doubling or if it's just linear, right? So it could, if you just add them instead of get the ratio, then it'd be something more like 365 days. So it'd be like April instead of summer, so like spring of 2023. And then it might not even be 100x, right? You might get diminishing returns, and so it might be like a 50 or 60x. So it might be $6 hex. So we don't really know, but generally speaking, if you were to believe this fractal, where's my brush? Then you would pretty much say anything that goes that way is fair game, right? You'd say anything pretty much in 2023 above maybe $5. You'd basically say like this whole region becomes fair game, roughly speaking. But you know, the ways to get there are many, right? You could crash and then like come back down and like do that thing, or you can just go straight and then crash. Like there are an infinite number of paths one can take to get there. So, and that's deterministic thinking. That's like we're definitely going to be above these levels, and you don't know that, right? You don't know the frequency of these cycles and subcycles, and speculation is, it's a very difficult thing to do. So be careful. But yes, you see, this is why I don't like. Can you draw the fractal and see what new all-time high went up at now? 100x from 10 cents is $10. Pretty easy math. The timing is kind of the tricky part. Gerardo, dude, glad you're back. Thank you. Glad to be back. Emojis, thanks. Gerardo, you're a gigabrain. Thanks, man. EUSDC USDL is more interesting. I've thought about that pair actually, because there's a lot of USDC liquidity on PulseX testnet, which intrigues me. And then the statement of one of the world's largest exchanges being ready to list Pulse and have even Pulse nodes ready. You know, I'm not saying it's Coinbase, but if it's Coinbase, then obviously they're gonna deploy USDC natively on PulseChain, and it would just be like a beautiful integration of centralized finance, decentralized finance, because they do provide the regulatory arbitrage. So they do provide a value, right? Even as much as we don't like middlemen, they provide the necessary bridge from the fiat world to the crypto world right now as things stand. So point being, EUSDC, USDL, or just that pair in general, assuming the liquid loans USD, their stable coin holds its peg. Again, I want to wait for that as well. There are a lot of things on Pulse I want to wait for, see how they play out, see who's kind of participating. Like, oh, Coinbase is participating, sweet. Oh, USDL is stable and it's actually pegged to the dollar, sweet. Like, I want personally, before I start participating in a lot of these degen farms and whatnot, I want to see things like not necessarily stabilize, but not in terms of ratios. Well, I mean, yeah, volatility will stabilize roughly, and just kind of concepts, proof of concepts will flesh out. That's what I'm really getting at. Proof of concepts will flesh out, or they won't, and that'll be very telling. It'll be a new world, and I'm here for it. I'm stoked. What up, 0x Will? Logarithmic regression curve. Stream with David Feeder, that'd be fun. Actually, met him in Vegas. That was very cool. Joe Paris, nice. Try to stream with Alex Becker. Hey, that's a great idea. It's not a bad idea. Can't wait for Mintra Hexkins rule. Oh, I have some really cool updates on that. I don't know if you guys can see my tabs, but Racks to Riches, that would be a fun one. That would be a good one. I came for those short shorts. Who wears short shorts says. That's a long username. Crow5555 dogs only one. Nice. You guys with the cabbage profile pictures on Twitter. Let's see. I use a power law model for price prediction. Y equals AX to the B. Smart man. I might try that actually. That's smart. Because whenever I do log, it just flattens way too quickly. And I think I did like, instead of just log of X, I think I did log of X squared. And then it looked way nicer and more like fit to the actual price data. So I like your thinking that you're going with power law. I'm going to try that. Let me write this down. Actually, I'm going to write in my notes real quick. Excuse me, guys. This is a big deal because I'm trying to redo the regression rainbow tab in LookIntoHex.com. It's absolutely wrecked. and it's not accurate. And I tried remodeling it when price data changed, but it changed again, and this is something you refit. And over time, I knew eventually I was gonna have to do a logarithmic curve, and I showed you guys, like I told you guys across the videos for months, I was like, this regression rainbow is potentially not gonna hold forever. At some point, it's gonna start bending over, and we'll refit it. And so now we're trying to get the math for it, and you guys are seeing it play out real time. So I'll just say log regression because that's how my brain understands it, and it'll recognize it. And I'll say power law y equals. Thank you for that. It's a good idea. I'm rusty on my math, my modeling, even though I went to school for 4 years for mathematics, physics, engineering physics. How old are you when I started crypto? Because you're so pro. Like 5 years ago. So I was like 20, 21. My thoughts on Maxi? It's fine. I haven't looked at the code. I haven't interacted with it, but from what I'm told and what I see, it's just a contract where people have sent hex, and I think there's like 75 million hex in there. Just a lot. And it's just going to be staked for 5555. And then depending on your share of that big stake with bonuses as well, right? Because the bigger pays better bonus is up to 10%. So, there's that bonus there. You're getting in on a pool that will distribute evenly, I believe. I might stream with the guys, so excuse me if I'm butchering the protocol kind of details, but I might stream with Maximus guys. We're kind of talking. But yeah, it's interesting, right? It's basically a pool, a 5555 pool. Everyone pulls their hex together. There's like 75 million in there right now. They stake it, and then they give you this maxi token. That's last I saw it was pegged 1-to-1 to hex, which is kind of cool on Uniswap. I don't know if it still is or if it will continue to be. But again, a lot of these are just experiments that I don't necessarily like. I don't want to say I don't care about them because they're fun to watch play out, but I think that's the majority of their role so far in my life right now is just kind of like watching them play out. I think that's their role for right now. Because I'm good with my hex, good with my pulse, good with my PulseX. I'll be happy with my incentive token, my PRT, my duplicate hex. I'll be happy pairing that and earning yield on that. I'll be happy developing the Mintra community in that project. I don't need all this other stuff personally. It's higher risk. It's more speculative. It's, there's less brand equity of people backing it. It's just not for me. So, I'm happy with my suite of products and of coins. Can I stream with Steak and Apes or Well Team Pepe? Steak and Apes, potentially. I haven't heard of the other one, which is why I didn't really mention it. Bridging EHEX to PulseChain to add liquidity with pair EHEX PHEX. Best way to get free pulse without selling your hex. Well, you would earn, if you added liquidity on that pair, I think you would earn EHEX and PHEX. So you wouldn't necessarily earn pulse, I don't think, but you could use that yield to like buy pulse if you wanted. Richwell says 5 years out, they'll both 5,000x. That would be nice. How to move hex from Polygon chain to Ethereum? Oh man, I don't think I've ever done that. Use a bridge. I can't suggest or direct you to any particular bridge, but you would need a bridge to go from Polygon to Ethereum and move your hex. Most bridges are counterparty risk ridden, so usually every time you're using a bridge, you're enduring some level of counterparty risk. PulseX will definitely create better yield. So people who sell PulseX for Pulse will cry hard sooner or later. It's an interesting thought, right? A lot of people are talking about selling their PulseX for Pulse at the beginning because they didn't get in on Pulse. And then if PulseX were to outperform Pulse, then that would suck for them. Yeah, I don't know what will happen. Can PulseChain 500x to the end of the year? Sure. I'm not selling anything. I'm accumulating Richard Hart. That's funny. Cardano took 5 years to go mainnet. We're not taking 5 years, man. Just scrolling through comments before I get back to the chat. Gerardo, can't read the numbers on the chart streaming at 720p. I'm sorry. I'm going to upgrade to the Pro so I can do 1080p. How will the launch of PHEX affect the EHEX price? No idea. Yeah, someone could create a pool, bridge in EUSDC to HEX, back it by $25 million, just basically duplicate the pool, and you have another market backed. And then if you want to add to that, you could create a EHEX PX pool, basically, and you're backing not only free coin with, you're not only backing the duplicate with the original, but you're also backing the duplicate with bridged in fiat, like stable. I think parity is possible. And no, I don't think Richard Hart is waiting for Bitcoin to dump before PulseChain launch. I think he's going to launch it as soon as it's ready. We missed your big brain. Thanks, bro. How's Mintra coming along? We'll talk about that. Someone says he's Quicksop for the Polygon guy, or use Matic Bridge. Yeah, I have no idea. Is PRT real? It's a placeholder for now. There'll probably be some form of incentive, Inc. or PRT. Yeah. All right. Can HSIs be sold on Mintra? Yes, any NFTs can be sold on Mintra. Okay, cool. So let's get to this new cool part of LookIntoHex. I don't know if you guys noticed on LookIntoHex.com. Originally, I really wanted to make it, its own tab. And in the future, most likely we will actually have it be its own tab. So my idea, I want the regression rainbow to be an updated logarithmic regression rainbow, and then probably move this new liquidity dashboard that you see up here that I'll get to in a second to its own tab here, right? I might deprecate the heat maps for now just because it's hard to get them in React, right? Because I originally coded them in Python, and then my guy, I think he does C++. It's kind of a hassle to do this now. So what I want to see in the future is your logarithmic regression rainbow, your liquidity right here, and then leave this as is, your ROIs, and leave everything else pretty much as is. And then obviously the staking dashboard or the staking front end should be ready in time as well. But let's pull up liquidity. I haven't touched on this yet, but this is our new liquidity dashboard from lookintohex.com/liquidity. And there's a lot to talk about here, right? On the left here, on this leftmost pie chart, you see the liquidity distribution of HEX across the different tokens. So it's one way to visualize, okay, how is the value of HEX backed? Well, 5.61% of all the value that's backing HEX is in the form of Hedron, the HDRN ticker, and that 5.61% amounts to roughly $3 million. If we look at the amount of Ethereum backing HEX, that's about a quarter of all of the value backing HEX is Ethereum, roughly 25%, which amounts to about $13.5 million in the form of Ethereum. And the vast majority of the funds that are backing HEX are in the form of stablecoin, namely USDC, about 70%, which amounts to $38 million, roughly. That's amazing. And this is one way of visualizing, again, how much value is backing HEX. Actually, this is, okay, let me touch on this real quick for a second. It's half of all of this because, I'll get to that. Okay, so this is just in the form of coins, right? There's that much liquidity. Maybe I spoke too soon by saying backing because this is total liquidity. So this includes both the bid and the ask side, right? Because if you look at the rightmost chart here, you see that the actual amount of value backing HEX is only about $28.8 million, right? And you scroll down, you see total liquidity is about $54 million, which if you were to add all of these, you would get this value, right? Because it's just this value distributed across coins. Or if you'd add both of these, you would get this value. Meaning, yeah, $28.8 million is on the bid side and about $25.6 million is on the ask side. So there's a second way of visualizing how the liquidity of HEX is distributed. So you can visualize it, how it's distributed across different pairs, across, which side of the pools, bid or ask. and which dexes themselves are distributed on. This used to be more interesting to watch because it was Uniswap v2 mainly, and then Uniswap v3 was slowly eating it over time, and now you can see that the majority of all Uniswap v2 liquidity has basically migrated to Uniswap v3, leaving only about $2 million of liquidity on v2. Hence why you see those gnarly wicks to the upside. So v2 is basically a dead chart now. So you'd want to use a sort of chart aggregator. Ideally, you would have a human basically create some kind of like what Firebund did with Dex.Vision, where it's like, okay, during this period of time, Uniswap v1 had all the liquidity, and so we're going to use that data, and then we're going to parse and start using v2 data when majority of liquidity migrated there, and sort of maybe do like this smooth weighted liquidity average to start using different data. So that'd be really cool. So you could actually see like kind of the most liquid chart of HEX, if that makes sense. Price chart. The most liquid price chart of HEX. Interesting. So yeah, this is one way of visualizing the liquidity of HEX. This is our new liquidity dashboard, and we're gonna redo it because I know the colors are kind of like an eyesore, and we're redoing it right now. I'm already in the works with my UI guy to make a prettier UI for it, but for now it works. It gets the data across a real-time feed of your HEX price, your Ethereum price, your Hedron price, just for these values to have some context, right? Again, your total liquidity, this is both sides. Total liquidity, right? So HEX and everything back in the HEX. And here you have your total HEX liquidity, aka the amount of HEX available on the DEXs, able to be bought up, right? About 207 million coins available on the market. And one nuance I wanted to point out was here on the DEXs, we will obviously add PulseX, right? Once PulseX launches, and it'll be fascinating to see the amount of HEX liquidity that PulseX eats up versus Uniswap v3. So this will eventually become, a cross-chain thing. Very interesting. That actually leads me to think, like, how am I going to do these? I guess we'll just use different tickers, right? PRC20 Hedron or ERC20 Hedron. ETH, Pulse, USDC. It'll be interesting. We'll figure it out. If you scroll down, you can see the details, right? Like total value locked in just Uniswap v2, number of coins locked in each of these pairs. Same with v3. So if you're about all of those specific details, this is for you. The buy calculator works fine. The sell one works decent, except for this last value. For some reason, it stays static, which is completely wrong. So working on fixing that. But for the buy input, I think it's pretty cool. Because if you say put $10 million, what happens to the HEX price? Well, there's about 28 million on the bid side. So adding $10 million roughly is adding, 30%. So you square that. So 1.3 squared to actually get your multiple. So about 70% pump ish, but we can see actually what happens here. About a 93% pump. So our rough math tells us 70, it says 93, most likely accurate. And you can see your ROI multiple, the new HEX price, right? Because it's just the current times the multiple. And you can see how many coins that person took out, right? A $10 million buy would get that person about 58 million coins. And that means they would have gotten an average price of about 17 cents. So you can see the slippage here, right? This calculator understands, look, this person paid 17 cents per HEX, even though right now it's 12 cents. Why? Because they fat finger bought $10 million and endured slippage and pumped price to 24 cents. So during that ride from 12 to 24 cents, they got an average entry of, somewhere roughly in the middle, about 17 cents. And it shows you basically that 200 million HEX available minus what the dude took out, and it leaves this much available. So I like this calculator a lot, right? It shows you if someone, $100 million of net buy pressure comes in, you get a 24x. Price pumps to $3. It shows you how many coins left the pool, average buy price of that buy, if it's a single purchase, for example, and how many coins are left in the pool, 42 million after that. So you're able to better get an idea of the asymptotic nature of the DEXs, how slippage is real, kind of how pools work a little more directly. Obviously, everyone loves to see ROI, and you can just play with it, right? See what happens if someone puts in $1 billion. then we get $200 hex. So you get the idea. So someone go onboard a billionaire to send us to 3-digit dollar hex, please. Let me get back to the chat. Fusing Platypus says, I think we're going to see PX leave EHEX behind. Could be. They don't think ETHEX will die, but I think PX will reach parity much faster than we think, and it'll surpass EHEX. Sure. Could be. I mean, I could see it, right? Cheaper fees, just how Hex was designed to be used. I have stack for both, blah, blah, blah. Nice. Stack early, yes. Bro, that's fire. Thank you, right? Like this is you know, I'm proud of this. I like the liquidity dashboard. Happily and finally able to share it with you guys. I used to be just kind of looking at the VIP thing, and then I was like, you know what? I have too much going on my plate. I'm not giving as much value to the VIP guys as I was. So let's just continue it and just make LookIntoHex the premier onboarding tool for Hex in the freaking world. That is the goal for LookIntoHex, is to make it the premier onboarding tool in the world. Hence why we're integrating the staking interface, the staking front end for Hex. So the code for the front end is done in React, except my blockchain developer guy doesn't know React too well. So I'm having it redone in, this is Greek to a lot of you. I'm having it redone in HTML, CSS, JS, so that my blockchain developer guy, he's good with Solidity, good with integrating contracts, so he can integrate the UI. And then, I mean, best case scenario, end of the month, you can stake Hex on LookIntoHex. That's best case scenario. But knowing how things go, real life, and hiccups, I'd be very, I'm pretty certain you can stake your Hex on LookIntoHex.com in May. Pretty certain. So that'll be great. Someone said we need 1,000 millionaires to send Hex to $200. Yeah, true. So for those of you who are here for the Bitcoin, Ethereum, the Hex, thank you. I love you for being here. I hope you got value out of the content. For those of you who are interested in Mintra, I'm going to talk about that a little bit now. So for those of you who are sensitive to NFT talk, allergic to NFTs or to NFT marketplaces or Mintra, then you can go ahead and enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. But for those of you who are interested, there is a new development, as you can see, for testnet V2B users. So PulseChain testnet users, the staking front end for Mint is live for testing. So you can now stake on the testnet. Let me show you guys. Actually, hold on one second. Stop sharing screen. Just for a second, I want to make sure everything is fine. I'm not sharing anything I shouldn't share. So let's disconnect real quick. And so I can show you guys the new staking front end for Mint. I'm pretty excited. Is this a good one? One second, guys. I'm sorry. Bear with me for one moment. I hope the viewership doesn't drop while I figure out the logistics. This is live streaming for you. Fun, right? All right. Yeah, front. All right. All right. Someone said they're pumping Mint. Nice. Time to pump Mint. Front end is fire, running smoothly. Nice shirt. Thrasher. Nice. Mintra. What up? All right. So I guess I can. Let's disconnect and let's do this account, and that should work. All right, let's share screen again. Share. So you guys can see that, right? Awesome. So this is the Mintra staking front end. I think it's very, very cool. You go to stake.testnet.mintra.io. And let me actually start. Let me show you guys this. Right. So this is the homepage. This is what the homepage looks like. It really explains everything. It gives you all the links, has a nice little graphic. So it gives you the links to PulseX. So you can, buy Mint, so you can add liquidity, so you can stake. So I can show you guys where these links lead. So buy on PulseX just leads to, the PulseX decentralized exchange, where you can swap the PLS Mint pair, which is the most liquid pair, right? You can look at info, go to your tokens. I think we're on page 2 now. Mintra, nice. So someone in the chat said they were pumping price. Look at that. Price is pumping on staking news. Very nice. So that's fun to watch. The $1.61 here on testnet. Sacrificers got it for a rate of 100 points per dollar. So they're up, what, 161x. A nice amount of liquidity. What was my point? Oh yeah, the deepest liquidity pool is this Mint PLS pool, right? You see, yeah, the majority of it, 13 mil, sitting in this pool. So it's pretty cool, right? It sends you here to add liquidity or to swap, depending on what you're trying to do. And then it just explains everything, right? You earn PLS rewards by staking Mint. So it's a house play basically for users for this revenue sharing model, similar to LooksRare, where you have stakers of the token Mint, and they're able to earn PLS passively. I said that very quickly, but you can read up on it. Again, it's just stake.testnet.mintra.io. This is a running counter of the total value locked. So it's just number of Mint locked times market value of Mint, how much Pulse has been paid out to Mint stakers, how many total stakers. So I literally just, we tweeted this, 11, so like a few hours ago, about 2 hours ago, 120 stakers have already staked their coins. It explains a little bit down here how Mint staking works. So go check it out. Again, if you hit staking app, you get to this, and you can see the app itself, right? You can see your wallet, how much Mint you have, how much Pulse rewards you have, nice little price widget. Cool. So you have your wallet block, you have your global stats up here, which I should have mentioned first. Current Mint price, change in the past 24 hours. This here is the total Mint supply, and this up here basically be your market cap. So right now about 8 billion. The total Mint amount of Mint that's actually staked, about 27 million Mint. There's about $47 million worth of Mint, about 0.6% of the total supply that is staked. So this is roughly what, like $27,000 worth of actual sacrificers already testing out the minting, the staking front end within the first hour. Very cool. And with testnet money, it's almost $50 million. Shows you the average APY. Reason it's so low right now is because so the marketplace doesn't exist yet, right? So you don't have that fee volume coming through yet. So you just have the rewards address being funded manually right now with Pulse. And the way it works is you stake a certain amount of Mint, right? We can actually, let's do this, right? Let's get some Mint so I can show you. So I'll show you guys the process. Buy. Let me hide this for a sec. Stop screen, make sure everything's good. OPSEC. All right, we're back. Yeah, so yeah, let's get some Mint. Why not? How much can we buy? How much is it? Can we get what? 10,000? Costs a few million Pulse. Do I have it? Yeah, can we afford 10,000 Mint? Sure. All right, we swap. Gonna get some slippage, but you know what? It's okay. We just say, yup. Transaction submitted. We wait for our cool little green receipt to pop up. Awesome. We see our balance 10,000 mint. So let's go and stake it. So cool. It pops up in available. You can see your total wallet value now changed. So the DApp is working. You can see that's our we have 0 stake, 0 rewards. Awesome. So let's just go ahead and stake it all 10,000 stake. So first it's an approval, right? And if you look at the permission, it's not an unlimited approval, right? If I go to the permission, it's exactly for the amount that I entered, which I like. It's interesting. It doesn't ask you for unlimited approval. The only downside to that is you'd have to approve every single time you stake. But again, you can manually edit the permission and say, you know what, I'll do a custom spend limit. And if I don't want to manually approve every single time, you just set something really, really high to like, I don't know, 1 million or 10 million or 100 million. So you have permission to pretty much spend as much as, you want to cover. So you don't have to do it multiple times. So that's up to you. Just a little fun fact I wanted to note. So first you approve, 3-second blocks are pretty quick on PulseChain, and then it leads you automatically to the next transaction, which is the staking that you originally wanted to do. And then boom, 3-second blocks, beautiful, staked. You can see it now becomes staked and you're able to unstake it in your unstake block. Shows you your share of the pool, USD value, and your rewards. The reward rate, the emission rate is about a tiny bit of pulse per block. And so it shows you how much you're able to withdraw at any given moment, which is pretty cool. And then you see your transaction history here with a link to the, transaction on the block explorer right here, which takes you to Pulse Scan. Very cool. So, I mean, it's working, right? And like I said, this is going to be different when it's actually live and there's real trading volume and it's being automatically just funded with fee revenue. So pretty cool, right? I'm very excited. I love that it's working. I love that we finally have something to show, to play with. So enjoy. How long do I have to wait to unstake Mintra? You don't. You can unstake whenever. There's no time lock. Gold says I'm Mintra rich when PulseChain nice. Bruno Cap looks fire. Thanks, man. I think it looks great too. The API will adjust today now that Pulse has been added to the rewards contract. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there you go. So thank you for noting that. The way it works is at the turnover of every day, universal time, UTC. So similar to the HEX contract, the way things roll over on a daily basis at that time, that's when you get paid your 6 HEX per t-shirt, for example, or whatever the rate is that day. So similarly, and I'll explain why in a bit, the way this works is Pulse fees accumulate up until the new day, UTC, 0 UTC. So Pulse rewards accumulate until that moment in time. And then I want to get this right. I don't want to mess this up. And then when the day ticks over, it starts releasing the rewards on a linear curve over the next 28,000 blocks, which is roughly a day. Given 3-second blocks, it's about 24 hours. So what happens, let me repeat that. What happens, I want to get this right, is basically all the Pulse rewards accumulated up to the moment the day ticks over starts getting released and drip released linearly on a per block basis over the next day. The reason being, you don't want people just staking, a minute before the day ticks over, getting their yield, and then unstaking a minute after the day ticks over. So it prevents that because they don't get the lump sum as the day ticks over. It drips out over the course of the next 24 hours. So they basically have to stay staked. So it provides incentive to just not do like stake, unstake right at the date when the day ticks over, that little snipe. So yeah, so it basically gets rid of snipers in a way, if that makes sense. Show us your millions, Gerardo. Nice. I mean, I got a new LV bag. Do you guys want to see that? That's actually kind of cool. I actually really like it. A new Louis V bag. Backpack. Can you put a link to the Mintra testnet? Sure. Or not the Mintra testnet. I believe you're referring to the staking portal on PulseChain testnet. But yeah, I just dropped it in the chat. Great job, bro. Thank you. Do we know what circulating supply will be? Yeah, you can see it up here. Total mint supply about 4.7 billion coins. About half of that is our coins for the sacrificers, right? If you go to lead.mintra.info, you can see about 2.3 billion ish. So half of that are sacrificers coins, and the other ones, watch them. You must have no expectations. But there's utility, right, in having centralized ownership and supply. And then if you see what happened in the PulseX DAO, that core proposal where it's like, yo, projects, if you want to provide your coin as yield in a pool, like follow the instructions. Boom, like yet another reason for centralized ownership. That'd be pretty cool. Wouldn't you love to see a mint pool on PulseX? Single asset stake your PulseX, get mint. I mean, I know I'd like to see that. Yeah, I dropped the link in the chat. If you guys want to test, have fun. Bro, this looks amazing. I'm glad I sacked a significant amount. Hey man, like I like delivering. I like making cool brands. I like making cool products, cool apps, cool in crypto innovations, I mean, guys, there's so much market share to be had in this new ecosystem, especially with PulseChain. And who better to take that than, the coolest tech skins out there? I mean, I appreciate like you saying you're glad basically you got in. A lot of people in the Telegram chat that were so nice earlier today. They were like, I bet on Gerardo. I'm glad I did, and I love that. That's what I'm here for. I like delivering. I like building cool brands. I like growing them. I like having an impact. Obviously, it helps pump my bags. We could use better terminology. It helps grow our mutual investments, right? As a community, if we push the no, I don't want to say push the Hex narrative, but build cool stuff around Hex, build cool stuff around Pulse. Just stream content, right? You could be content creator, you could create cool projects, do whatever you want, but just spread the good word at scale, right? Well done, Gerardo and team. The haters will learn. Thanks, man. Wow, I'm Mintra rich. Thanks, G. It looks great. Nice. To be fair, I got it because of you. I have no expectations, but normal things, having some kind of belief on who runs the project. That's sort of the Gary Vee mentality, like bet on the founder. It works for some people. Some people know people, right? Some people bet on people. They don't bet on ideas. Some people are very logical math heads, so they bet on the game theory. Some people are very human oriented, so they bet on the founder. So you guys, yeah, I like this comment. You guys are the core reason for Mintra. Looking good, says Patricia. Thank you. Do I see PulseX 100x within 6 months? Sure, why not? What is the faucet that gives you 10,000 pulse per day? That's freepulse.io. Freepulse.io. But yeah, it works great, right? The staking front end works great. We already have almost 30 million mint staked. You can see we already have some pulse to withdraw. It's similar to most LP farms, most yield farming, where if you unstake, it automatically pulls your rewards, or you can just pull your rewards without unstaking. But if you're going to unstake and you want to pull your rewards, just hit unstake. It would make no sense to pull rewards and then unstake because unstaking automatically pulls them. Yeah, you have a night mode and a non-night mode, so a day mode, light and night. That's pretty cool. What else can I say about this? You have our links to YouTube, Twitter, Telegram, Discord, Instagram. Some of these links will not be here and are currently not functional. Some of them are and will be. What else? What else? What else? We'll leave the pretty hex chart for now. See if I covered everything. See, we covered Bitcoin, Ethereum, Hex, LookIntoHex, the liquidity dashboard, the new Mintra staking user interface. I touched a little bit on the LookIntoHex staking interface. Yeah, things look good. So any questions? Because other than that, we've been here for an hour and 15. I don't want to be too intimidating to some of the new guys who are here and, want some short digestible content, which I'm really lacking on this channel as of late. But yeah, guys, if you have any questions, hit me with them before I hop off. Hey, Gerardo. Sorry if you answered this. Will there be any news on the date to receive claim of Mintra? So it'll basically just be in your wallet on PulseChain, right? Your keys will be able to access it. Any news on the date to receive claim? So this is a tricky one because ideally you want everything to launch like as a unified package product. What I mean by that is ideally you'd want the marketplace to launch at the same time as people have their tokens, to launch at the same time as the staking portal, to launch at the same time as liquidity pools start existing. Well, no, I guess liquidity pools can't start existing until people get their coins, right? So you want to think about like the order of these things and basically have them all kind of in one package. So yes, there will be news. There will definitely be news on the date. I don't have it as of now, but I'm just kind of rambling to you into the thought that goes into like how to launch something like this. Good question. I got him interested solely because of Gerardo. Huge trust in this dude. Well, look, thank you, first of all. The way I'll put it is like this. And I'm gonna do the whole flex thing for a bit. Like, tell me who else has more brand equity in the Hex community, who has also created a website with the impact that LookIntoHex has had, who has also had 10 million impressions on YouTube for Hex and Pulse content over the last year. My point being, like, there are few people in this community that I personally would bet on, and I don't think it's pompous to say that I am one of those. I would bet on myself, and every time I have, it's been a good bet. So I appreciate those comments. I want to keep going. I want to keep going for you guys. Like, I want stuff to be awesome. I want LookIntoHex.com to be so good. I want to become the premier onboarding tool for Hex. I want it to grow Hex because I have the incentive to see Hex grow. Obviously, we all have incentive to see Hex grow. Mintra is for Pulse. It's going to help Pulse grow. So these brands I create, these brands I help create, co-found, there's a reason for them, right? They're around the stuff I love. Just know that. But yeah, who else? And then the hair, like, come on, guys. Flex is earned, and you earned it, bro. Thank you. That is a real Hex flex. Randy in the house. What's up, Randizzle? Yes, I have bet on you too. Yeah, flex and flex hard. You've earned our respect. Can't wait for Mintra to get going. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I appreciate that. So fun fact, my mouse just died. It's okay because there's a little charging port I use here for it, so it's charging right now. But yeah, I think let's see one more comment before I hop off. Belief in yourself is the key to success. If you can't bet on you, you can't expect others to either. Big facts dropped in the chat. You should really take some time to talk to Jim at Crypto. I think you'll find some topics that are interesting. I streamed with him a while back, actually. It's on his channel. Go check it out. What, Dr. Gerardo, where have you been, my man? I'm here. John May says, besides Richard, you're the only one I truly believe in. Hey, thanks, man. That means a lot. It's actually to put me up with a legend like that. Oh, he says, well, and Jenkins too. All right, to put me up with two legends like that, freaking Chad Cosmo, Jenkins, and RH, the man himself. Like, big appreciate. Just take some mint, nice and quick, very cool. Says Raymono, Ray. Well, yeah, guys, hit me with those final questions, with those final comments. I'm gonna take a sip of my hydration drink. Hour 20 minutes. I missed you guys. Glad to be back. Hopefully gonna make more content. We out. Yeah. Peace, everyone. Have a good Wednesday. Actually, before I leave, twitter.com/Gerardog, GERAWRDOG, twitter.com/LookIntoHex, twitter.com/Mintra.io. You can go to LookIntoHex.com, Mintra.info, youtube.com/ oh, you guys are on my YouTube, so you don't need to know that. Subscribe. Like is fine. Subscribe is cool. Subscribe is the best if you aren't already. Yeah. Ciao, everyone.